2nd. Again, hopefully you've had a chance to review those, and if there are no kind of omissions, edits, errors, can I also get a person to move the minutes? Thanks, Janice. And second, I see Caitlin as well. And everybody all in favor? Perfect, thank you. So moving on to point number 4, we have disclosure of pecuniary interest. Again, I have yet to have anybody disclose, not seeing any from anybody. We actually have no delegations this week, nor do we have any briefings this week, which brings us to our first business item, which is the Accessibility Office Q1 update report. And this is a report that's only for information purposes only, so there's no recommendation or anything that will come of that. So I will leave that to
that would be
Eric?
Yes, me, Amy.
Okay,
and
perfect.
I'll start by advising the committee of yet another change in the structure at the clerk's department, which warrants why I am back here giving this report again. So I am back to my role of acting deputy city clerk, as Janet James, who's normally the deputy clerk, has now been moved up to acting city clerk. So both of us are backfilling some roles. So I get to be here again as both committee clerk and as the accessibility office lead. So I am happy to work with all of you on that yet again. So with that, I'll give a quick overview of the report from Q1. So as you can see, related to inquiries across all metrics, whether looking at Q1 of this year to the past Q4 of 2022, comparing previous years, Q1s, as well as averages, inquiries were up quite a bit in Q1 of 2023. And this can be attributed to 2 separate categories. One relates to snow removal issues. So we did have a couple of winter events happen in the, I guess, late winter time, which always sees an increase in the number of inquiries related to sidewalks needing to be plowed or snow removed from roadways, et cetera, causing accessibility barriers for people. So that is one we continually work on trying to improve, as well as working with people to ensure that they are not exacerbating things from plowing in their own driveways and blocking sidewalks and things like that. So it's an area we need to do some continuous improvement in, but we do have metrics to see where that's going. Another area that received a significant increase in inquiry volume relates to parking enforcement. So most of the inquiries are either related to reports of people parking illegally in accessible parking spaces, or people requesting reviews that they've received for tickets for parking in an accessible parking space, be it illegally or not having a valid parking pass displayed. And I spoke with staff in our parking services department, and part of the reason for this increase is that there's an actually increase in enforcement in this area as well. So a good thing to see increased enforcement, but that will naturally lead to increased complaints and increased requests for reviews of tickets. So we'll continue to monitor that moving forward. And sort of transitioning into the work plan itself for the committee, just briefly, as Amy mentioned, this is a very light meeting today. So hopefully we can get out and the weather improves. We can enjoy some nice sunshine that might be coming today. But this means our June meeting will actually be rather full agenda. So we'll be having a delegation from the Kingston Area Taxi Commission, and they're going to provide an overview of their services. As well, this is an opportunity for the committee to provide a feedback on the availability and the need for accessible taxi service in Kingston. And this is a requirement under the Integrated Accessibility Standards Regulation. I'll quickly mention to people in the meeting today that Kingston is very unique as I think one of only 2 municipalities in Ontario where the city does not actually license taxis ourselves. Through a private member's bill that passed in the provincial legislature about 40 years ago, it's a completely separate entity known as the Kingston Area Taxi Commission, which the city actually has no authority over whatsoever that regulates taxis. So the staff there are very good to work with, though. The members of the, I believe the chair of the commission, Joseph Dowser, will be speaking. So it'll be an opportunity for committee members to provide that feedback on the service. Additionally, there will be presentations from staff in the city's facilities management department and construction services. So an overview of the work they have done and will have coming up in the year. And there are two unscheduled reports. One relates to a motion that passed at council a few months ago regarding a review of accessible parking fees. So staff from Parking Services will be bringing a report for consultation with MAC on how they should proceed with fulfilling that motion. So another good opportunity for feedback. And Recreation and Leisure Services will be coming with a report regarding their adaptable programming. So I don't have any more details on this, but it will have to do with the recreation programming that's provided, and perhaps how it is made adaptable for persons with disabilities. But you'll get some more details on that in the report. And the last thing I'll briefly mention is staff have been working on a campaign for National Accessibility Week, which is in late May, early June. I'll actually save more of an update on that for the accessibility and education, or awareness and education working group. So with that, Amy, I'm happy to answer any questions about the report.
Perfect. Thanks so much. It sounds like there's lots of opportunity for us to engage over the next little while, especially the next meeting. So hopefully you can come prepared with some comments and questions for all those groups that are going to be coming to us. But with that, does anybody have any questions for Derek on the report that he presented? Seeing none. Perfect. Thank you, Derek. So we will move on to business item B then, which again are just the two working group reports. So the first one is again the awareness and education working group report. And Derek, were you going to talk about that?
Yes, I can speak to this briefly as well. So thank you, Amy. I kind of segued into it with my final comments on the report, but for the awareness and education working group, a major area of focus has been a campaign for National Accessibility Week regarding service animals in Kingston. So it's a twofold, I'll say, campaign focusing on both teaching residents about proper etiquette when interacting, or should I say not interacting with service animals. And then also an education component for businesses as well, because we've learned in the community there's a lot of, I'll say, apprehension. People want to do the right thing, but they're just unsure of what the rules or regulations or what the proper etiquette is when providing business to a person who has a service animal. So Dinah is not in the meeting here today. She had another commitment, but she has volunteered herself as well as her service dog, Ellie, to be in a series of videos that we shot last week. So we're doing some educational videos on the topic. The downtown Kingston business improvement area was also kind enough to loan us a couple of businesses to shoot in as well. So we're very excited to be sharing a lot of that campaign material, starting with National Accessibility Week, which is May 28th through June 3rd. So that's going to form a big component of the campaign. We're also going to be doing a direct mail to all Kingston area businesses with information about service animals, and just to help try and dispel some of those myths. So we're coming at it with a very soft approach, an education approach, as opposed to a legalistic approach. We want to make people comfortable and basically just share that it's not a difficult topic to deal with, but one that is important for businesses and ensuring Kingston is more accessible. So with that, I'd like to thank all the members of the Awareness and Education Working Group who helped to craft that messaging. As well, we did some consultation with staff at the CNIB as well. So they are the subject matter experts as well, and were able to help us out. And I think in terms of the rest of the work plan, that's the majority of the work. And then there'll be some other visioning exercises happening with the working group moving forward. So if there's any questions again, Amy, or any feedback, I'm happy to hear them or provide some more information.
Perfect. Thanks so much. Does anybody have any questions for Derek on that, or anything else that was presented? Seeing none. Okay, so we can move on to the next working group report, which is the Built Environment Working Group report. And I'm not actually sure who is going to speak on that. So
our Kim will be speaking on that, Madam Chair. She is taking over the mantle from David Williams as the chair.
Perfect.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As a new member of the Built Environment Working Group, I'd really like to thank Susan Walker for helping to train myself and the other new members. to get us up to speed, because without her help, we would not have been able to review 18 site plans between January and March. So thank you, Susan, for your help with that. We've arranged presenters to provide us with more understanding of individual needs. I believe the neurodiversity presentation is still available as a recording to the members of this committee. And I urge you to take 20 minutes and watch it, because it is a very informative presentation on the needs of neurodiversity in our community. And the group will be arranging other presenters for the rest of the year, including Susan Walker herself and Chris Wick and Leah Rydell, a member of the deaf community, has also agreed to present. So as those presentations get closer to happening, we will let the members of MAC know, so that they're welcome to join in for the presentation if they wish to learn more on that particular topic. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Was there any questions for Kim or the working group in terms of the report presented?
Madam Chair, if I may just add something, just from what I've noticed, the group has been doing a great job. It's there's a lot of work to do in terms of the site plan and the education that needs to be known in that work. So one thing that will be done through that group and is available to the bigger committee, we're hoping, is some training on some specifics, especially with built environment projects. So a lot of members here are new and may not have experienced a project team before for a construction project. So working through the working group, we're going to offer some opportunities for some training. And I would just encourage everybody, when that opportunity comes up, if you can spare some time, I know time is valuable for everybody here, but it'll give you some much needed confidence when you're working on those project teams. So I just wanted to take that opportunity to throw that in. And there's very knowledgeable colleagues as well that you can learn from.
Perfect. Thanks for that ad. So yes, I expect that will be sent out to the entire kind of MAC complement, like Derek had done with that neurodiversity session. He had shared that last month. So it was on April 6th. If for some reason you hadn't seen that, that's when Derek had sent out that email with the link to the presentation if you want to look back at that. So if there are no questions, we are then moving on to business item, or do I have?
Sorry, Amy, just jump in. If we can get a mover, seconder, and a motion to accept the reports, that'd be great.
Okay. So as Derek says, if I can get a mover to accept the reports as presented for both working groups together. Thank you. I see Councillor Tozo, and I also see Kim, and all in favor on accepting those two reports. Perfect. Thank you. And so moving on to business item C, which is the appointment of project teams. It looks like we have two project teams, the Creekside Valley Parks, 2 appointments, and the accessible consultation process policy. It looks as though we are looking for 2 appointments. I'm not sure if, Derek, you wanted to talk about them at all, or if anybody wants to volunteer right away.
I can certainly, Amy, give a quick overview for both of them. So Creekside Valley is a park project where things would be starting from, I'll say, the ground up. Literally, it is a brand new park in a new development in the west end of Kingston. So this is one that would be sort of a longer term project team you'd be a part of, probably closer to 1 to 2 years. But keeping that in mind, you'd probably only be contacted, once every 6 months or so as it goes through the development phases. So just keep that in mind for people. The accessible consultation process policy is almost the exact opposite. So that's a project team I'm leading. The city is updating the policy we have internally for how city staff receive feedback and receive consultation from persons with disabilities related to city work. So a draft policy update has been made, and you would be asked to participate via email or a brief video chat meeting to review the policy and provide any feedback or let us know if there's any gaps in our consultation area. So that is a project you would probably have maximum a couple of hours of work spread out over the next 2 to 3 months. So I think that's probably a good overview, Amy, but I can answer any questions.
Okay, perfect. We'll start with there then, and I can start with the first project team then. Is there any volunteers for the Creekside Valley Park? Again, that's the park, new park in the west end of Kingston. Not seeing any. Derek, I can join on that one as one person if someone wants to join with me. Little peer pressure. I see Susan raising her hand. Okay. Thanks, Susan. And so this second one, the accessible consultation process policy, working with Derek on that one. I see Kim and Lucy. Perfect. So I see Kim and Lucy. And so in terms of that, I think I'll confirm both of them together then. So I just need a mover to confirm that basically myself and Susan will be confirmed, as well as Kim and Lucy for the second project, and be appointed to those respective teams. See Janice as a first. Is there a seconder? Nicholas, thank you. And all in favor on that? Hi. Perfect, thank you. And then we move right through the agenda. So there are no motions. We don't have any notices of motion. We don't have any other business. We also don't have any other correspondence. As Derek mentioned, the next meeting is going to be June 8th at 1 p.m. and you can expect it to be a little bit longer meeting. As he said, lots of briefings and information will be coming our way shortly on that stuff. So with that, we also forgot to do this last time, but we need to move to adjourn our meeting. So if I can get somebody to move to adjourn. Councillor Tozo, thank you. And seconder, I saw lots of hands. Caitlin, I see your hand there. And with that, all in favor, I guess that we adjourn in a quick 18 minutes. Take this additional time, enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and hopefully the sunshine comes out for us a little bit after all this rain.
Thanks, everyone. Great meeting.
Okay, everyone, take care.
Bye.
Thanks, Eric, for your work.
Take care.